So I taught ancient church history, and some of my students remember how in the 4th century, when the Roman Church, or when the church became the official religion of the Roman Empire, there was a rapid influx from pagans, from Romans to the Germanic tribes to others. And because of that rapid influx, the church kind of got lax, and we had idolatry get mixed into the church. It's where we get veneration of saints, burning incense, things like that. What was that? And I've noticed the church becoming lax, not really because of a rapid influx, but just it seems apathy and other things that I'm going to talk about. Let me bring up my notes. So we get distracted by a lot of things. Like politics is a big one that's come recently. I'm going to try to stay out of political views, but this is pretty much general with any politicians. You're very rarely going to find a politician that is perfect, that fits completely in with the Bible. So why do we blindly follow politicians? We also buy into things like the new trend is that the easiest way to win a debate is making the other person so mad they refuse to debate anymore, which they should be called just being a jerk, but I don't know where we get it now. Another thing is hating enemies, which has been around for a while. But every time we see a group of like ISIS just killed in the Middle East, we kind of celebrate. And yes, it's evil deeds that are being taken away. But think, the Christians that they're decapitating, where are they going? And whenever we kill a member of ISIS who hasn't heard the gospel, where are they going? So why are we cheering whenever these people are being killed? We're just being distracted by what the media and what politicians tell us. We get distracted by other things that are outside of politics, like finances, which is a big one that we see normally. We're in America, and the American dream is just to get rich and be successful, not to, go help others or make peace with people. It's getting rich. Another thing that was pointed out to me the other day by one of the students was that we get distracted by theology that's really not essential. I'm not saying it's bad to study theology. I'm just saying some people get focused on what's going to happen in the end times and not what's happening right now. I'm not an expert on eschatology, but I do know that Jesus is coming back, and I do know we need to preach the gospel as much as we can before he does. Another big thing I see is just Christians going with the flow. One example is with marijuana, and I was going to show a video of this woman doing the spoken word thing. Spoken word's not everybody's cup of tea, so I kind of edited it and just going to read it normally. But it says, it's called A Poem About Weed, and it's written from the perspective of marijuana. It says, I'm Mary Jane. I'm also known as cannabis, sativa, pot, weed, and hemp. Yes, I'm pretty popular. My body can transform into many forms, though I'm typically the color green. My scent is a mix of Christmas trees and overcooked Orville Redenbacher. I'm sort of an activist. Before the marijuana tax of 1937, I was completely legal, no handcuffs on my buds, no shackles on my stems. Little do these people know how much I can do for those in need of my help. I abolished the pain of AIDS and cancer in patients while amplifying the flesh, making every sin you could ever conceive more desirable than the apple dangling like death on the tree in the sight of Eve. Why do you think every time you take a puff of me, you get greedy? I cause the munchies, which is a funny term. We see it a lot used as a joke on different things. Everybody loves the munchies, even though the munchies is just a cute word for gluttony. I'm better at feeding you sin than Satan is. Hey, hey, hey. It's also been said that I can help those with glaucoma. Everybody has the right to see, right? Well, take one hit of me and watch your eyes become x-rays, undressing every person you see, helping you rape, fornicate, and sodomize men and women with your blinks. Lust is simply a sinly side effect that comes along with me. And it's funny, those who allow lust to take over their soul get stoned to death. Go figure. That's the reason why your eyes are the color of red rum when you're drunk off me. I'm a murderer in disguise, but nobody dies from weed. The leading cause of preventable death in America is tobacco, not me. But your idolatry of me is killing you softly and slowly. Whoa, whoa, whoa. First of all, it's not that serious. Second of all, if I'm legalized, I can save the government up to 10 to 15 billion a year. First of all, it's eternally serious. Second of all, let's do the math. God is eternal, infinite, meaning he has no beginning, no end. There is no number ascribed to him. God is holy, man is not. Sin is a direct slap in the face of God and face of God. In honor of him, or to use as in honor of him every puff pass, is storing up immeasurable wrath on the hands of the transgressor. Hypothetically speaking, let's say every sin cost $1 million. I tend to produce lust, greed, hate, pride, idolatry, laziness, sexual immorality, munchies, I mean gluttony, with every person I come in contact with. Literally, that means for every joint, pipe, bowl smoked, you're reckoning 9 million a high. If you were to smoke a blunt a day for 365 days, you end up making 3,285,000,000 in sin a year for every year you are with me. Against a holy, infinite, and righteous God, which you are expecting to meet on Judgment Day. With this, you can't afford to love me. I'm not God, but didn't God create marijuana? All weed heads are doing is simply making use of his artwork. So we should apply that concept to everything God created. Child molesters shouldn't be penalized because they're simply making use of children with forced intercourse, right? I cannot cure you. I cannot give you peace and joy. I cannot comfort you. I am only temporary. Can't you see I am as fickle as a schizophrenic therapist? I make you feel good for 15 to 30 minutes, then I leave you with the same emotions that you came with. You have made me into your master and willingly became my slave. The evidence of your bond to me is the cotton growing inside of your mouth. Every time you kiss me, don't you see we are not made for each other? A lot of you know this way, but not many of you know the real me. This is the real me. This is reality. I am more than Mary Jane. I am the resurrected Jekyll and Hyde. There are two faces of every eye. I am either extremely evil or wonderfully good. And what is good can seem evil, and what is evil as excellent at looking good. Which side of me you want to believe is for you to choose. Lovers of me will not suffer from lung disease, but they will suffocate on deception. This has been a public service announcement from Mary Jane. And the woman that wrote that, I recommend, even if spoken word is not your thing, she speaks at conferences, and you can see some of her things that she speaks about, but a lot of it relates to stuff that we deal with teens, including marijuana, which I've had kids smoke weed up until the day they came. Also, she used to be a lesbian, and she wanted to be a boy, she says, and she does whole things on gender identity that's really useful because that's becoming so much big of an issue. And we think it's just, people don't like that they're boys and they want to become girls and vice versa. But there's actually, I looked up a list of all the genders that the secular world acknowledges, and there's just so many I couldn't even read them all. My sister was telling me the other day, one of her friends at school calls herself gender non-binary. That means she's not fully male, she's not fully female. There's one called cadence gender, which is my gender changes based on the music I'm listening to. These are people thinking, or these people legitimately think these things, and the church has become more and more accepting of homosexuality because we don't like being called homophobes, we don't like being called hateful, just like people don't like being told their life is wrong. But we just become more accepting of that and welcome it in. And going back to marijuana, I remember a couple years ago, right after it was legalized for recreational use in Colorado, well, not only did the use of meth shoot up, but so did homelessness, but also there were Bible studies that what they would do is they'd go to study the Bible while high, which, I mean, if I'm studying something, I would like to have a clear mind, wouldn't you? Yeah, we need to stop putting up with sin. We need to stop going with the flow. We need to use the Bible as our standard. We need to not do what the world wants us to do. Another thing is a lot of people think they know better than God. You think you're more rational than God. God called Jesus the Word, which the word he uses is logos, which also means ground, plea, opinion, expectation, speech, account, reason, proportion, discourse. So basically, his name, according to John, basically means logic. All right? So you're going to say you're more rational than a guy whose name is logic. But people just think that they know better. And once again, that's how they think the whole homosexuality and gender identity is, oh yeah, that's not what the Bible says. This is what it really is. they deny scriptural inerrancy. That's a big one that I've seen. Rob Bell, I don't know how many of you know who Rob Bell is. He's a crazy famous pastor. He writes a lot of books and they sell like crazy. His stuff was okay up until a few years ago. He wrote a book called Love Wins, which is basically saying there is no hell, that a loving God went and sent people to hell, that basically the hell we experience is the sin that we deal with on earth. And then he also wrote a book recently called What is the Bible? And I saw a joke that it wasn't a rhetorical question. He was legitimately wondering, what is the Bible? He says, or he completely gets rid of what we define as God-breathed or divinely inspired. He twists the whole word to make something different. But it's just, the whole thing is he thinks he knows better than what's in the Bible. In one part, he says that the sacrificial system in the Old Testament was come up with by man, and God did not approve of it at all. It was a complete invention of man, so why did God give them all the instructions on how to do sacrifices, is my question. But so he said, when Christ came to earth, he fulfilled everything by living a perfect life, and that he was murdered and he didn't have to die, and that the apostles just knew the sacrificial system, and so they viewed it through that lens, which is about the most arrogant thing I can think of somebody to say. Like, I know better than the people who walked with Jesus. I know better than the things Jesus actually said. But people buy into these things. It's also just people, if they can stop taking the Bible literally, then they can say, oh yeah, the flood wasn't real, because that's what a lot of secular people say. You really believe there was a worldwide flood? Or they say, oh, this is human error, this is metaphorical, or things like that. And you think that's just in the fringe, crazy churches, but my sister was going to youth group at a Methodist church, and they the pastor told her, or said in a sermon that he was doing, that there's human error in the Bible. They're going over Genesis. If you can say that one thing is wrong in the Bible, that it's human error, then you could say anything is wrong. Just all these things are entering the church, and it's sad. I know somebody that went to a church in, I'm not hating on the Methodists, but it was also a Methodist church, and it told him that it was okay that he was homosexual. They had a homosexual pastor, and they had a Pride Sunday. And it's when we stop using the Bible as our standard, this is what happens. We get distracted. We give in to the world. We think we know better, and we just need to focus on the Bible and not the world. I'm not saying that we should just isolate ourselves. We still need to go out into the world and preach, but not from their views. We need to isolate ourselves from their views. And that's all I have. So.